Hello, everybody. It's Beatle Dave calling to you from Hampshire in the United Kingdom. Um, this is the channel Beatle Dave. It's the channel where we talk about everything to do with the Beatles and record collecting in general. But from time to time, we will do little special features on other artists. Sorry about the hat, but my hair is all messy today, and it needs a good cut. So I'm just having this hat on. So if I look a bit like a name awesome, I'm very, very sorry. If I go like that, look, it don't look that bad, does it? All right. Thank you to everybody for joining me on this video today. So today we're going to look at one of these sort of like overlooked Beatles albums that was originally released in the 60s when the Beatles were, still a functioning band. Story behind this album is Brian Epstein wanted the Beatles to do like 3 or 4 singles a year and possibly up to 2 albums a year. In 1966, it was a bit of a weird year for the Beatles because they stopped touring, didn't they? They had all the fiasco with the Beatles are bigger than Jesus and things like that. They'd done Revolver, and they did tour after they'd done Revolver till about August, I think it was, in 1966. I think the last concert was at Candlestick Park, wasn't it, in America? And then virtually straight away, well, they had a couple of months off, didn't they? And then they started work on Sergeant Pepper. So there wasn't going to be an album in 1966, which was the first time since 1963 that wouldn't be any Beatles product available at Christmas. They did try and rush release a single, but the single wasn't actually ready, and that came out in February of 1967, which was Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane. So to fill the gap, Parlophone came up with the first official Beatles Greatest Hits album in the UK. I think it was released in Germany, but I think it was the following year it was released in Germany. And it's this one. And I say it's overlooked because this is never really like in the discographies. And when they re-released all the CDs in the 80s, they left this one out, which I think is actually a shame because, at least the Beatles did sort of like have control over what went on this. So just bear with me while I just get my glasses on. My granddad glasses. So it originally was in mono, but it did come out in stereo as well. And there's the history of this album. It appeared in slightly different versions. So we'll start off with the mono. The catalogue number is PMC 7016. And like I say, this was actually released in December 1966. So there's no new song. Everything on here, basically, you could get apart from one song. So Beatles fans actually had to buy this just to hear one new song, basically, which wasn't actually new because it was from 1965, but it had never been released in the UK. So side one, this is what I mean. It is like it is the first ever Greatest Hits album. It's She Loves You, followed by From Me to You, We Can Work It Out, Help, Michelle, Yesterday, I Feel Fine, Yellow Submarine. Side 2, Can't Buy Me Love. Then we get Bad Boy, which is the song that you couldn't get in the UK up until this LP. Yes, I know it had been on an album in America, and I think an album in Germany as well, hadn't it? Then you get Day Trip at A Hard Day's Night, Ticket to Ride, Paperback Writer, and the Big Beat, and I Want to Hold Your Hand. All songs except Bad Boy, composed by John Lennon and Paul McCartney, published 1963, 64, 65, and 66. Recording produced by George Martin. Cover is by David Christian, and the back cover photography is by Robert Whittaker. So Bad Boy was actually an old Larry Williams song. Basically, I think some of the Beatles fans at the time didn't want to pay full price for one song. That could be wrong because I was only about 3 months old when this came out. So the correct title for this, because a lot of people just call this Beatles Oldies, but it's a collection of Beatles Oldies and Goldies. So originally it did come in the flip back sleeve, and this is pressed by Gerhard and Lofthouse Limited, and this is in a patterns pending sleeve as well. So you get the flip back sleeves. I will take it out there just so you can see it a little bit better. I always think the cover on this is actually quite a nice cover. So that's the front cover. That's the spine. Which, if you're saying, this is virtually as old as me, this record. You do get the flip backs there, and there. I don't think you could get this in the Ernest J Day sleeve. I think they'd stopped doing the sleeves for Beatles songs by then, Beatles LPs by then. You could also, it was also available in stereo, number PCS 7016. So the catalogue number was basically the same, wasn't it? So that is it. So you get all the EMI and everything on here, and Haynes Middlesex and all that lot. See, that's a collection of Beatles oldies, but goldies. So, like I say, apart from Bad Boy, there wasn't really anything new on it. I think it had some of it was slightly remixed. I think, if I remember rightly, if I remember rightly. EMI Records, the Gramophone Co. Limited, Haynes Middlesex in England, made and printed in the UK, and then you've got your things to the use EMI clean everything. So, like I say, this is mono. This isn't in the original. Well, I don't think this is original sleeve from 1966, but I'm not sure if this is from 1966 or 1968. It's on the yellow and black Parlophone label, so you get the Gramophone Co. text in the perimeter of the label. You get the Made in Great Britain there, and you get the Sold in the UK text on this as well. So that's side one. That looks a bit scratched, but it's actually, I think it is just dust on this list. I think it's just dust. That's side one. And that is side two. So I think if it's got the see if I can see the next. Yeah, so side one is XEX. There was one sec. XEX 619, and then it says 1G. And on side two, it's XEX 620 1G. I think this is original from 1966 from what I can look at, but I think that's a slightly later sleeve because on that I'm sure it's got Pink Floyd and I think it's got Sergeant Pepper on it. So it's got Sergeant Pepper. So I think this inner sleeve might be from later on. A very, very heavyweight record. And when I play it on my old Gerhard record deck there, it sounds absolutely amazing. Yes, it has got some marks on it, and I've actually got a load more in this one, but I've just done it slightly different today, just so you can actually see a bit more of like the record equipment that we use when we're playing our records. So that's side one and that's side two. It wasn't a flop. I think it did chart, did go into the UK charts, but I think it might have only got into the top 10 if I remember rightly. And the interesting fact is, this photo here was actually the Beatles on their last tour of Japan, but it's actually the wrong way around. So although George is there, it should actually be George there. They got it the wrong way around when they did it. I mean, that would have made quite a nice cover, wouldn't it? But I do still think that is a very, very nice cover. And it's a bit psychedelic in one way, isn't it? Some people hate this cover. They say it looks dead cheap. I've always thought it was quite nice. That is the mono version. Always put them back in the little sleeves to keep them a little bit more shiny. Then we've got, this is the stereo version. So it's exactly the same. It's just, I think it's exactly the same. It's not. I've only just noticed that because on there, you've got nothing there, have you? Apart from like available in stereo, right? And then on this one, it says, important, this record is intended for use only on special stereophonic reproducers. This is in slightly better condition than the mono one as well. Same lovely sleeve cover. Still get your flip backs. And I said you can't get this in the Ernest J Day sleeve. What's this one in? Ernest J Day sleeve. and I always thought that the last ones they did was Revolver. The thing about the Ernest J. Day sleeve is, although they look identical, but every one of these that was in the Ernest J. Day sleeve was sold. There was about 100 in the Gerhardt and Lofthouse ones. So, you know, if it's in a G&L sleeve, as it later became known, Gerald and Lofthouse, and that is in patterns pending, where this one isn't. That one is more common than that one, and it can actually make a difference in the price as well. Don't ask me why. So you get all the flip back sleeves and everything on it, flip back cover. Still, everything else is identical apart from that bit there. So that's the EJ Day sleeve, and that is the Gerald and Lofthouse sleeve. But remember that one is mono, isn't it? So this is the stereo, so it's a stereo there, and the mono is a little mono there, and it's above it, isn't it? Oh, yeah. So, all right, so we'll have a look at this one. I think this one isn't in the polyline sleeve, but I think, you know, it isn't. And this one is actually in quite nice condition. So again, this one, the metrics numbers for this is YEX6191G. And then on the B side, it's YEX6201G. I don't know if you can actually see that one there. It's just there. So this one is stereo. And when these were still being released, I think the stereos weren't as popular as the monos at all. Nice clean labels on this. Labels are lovely on this one. So stereo was actually getting more popular. Sorry, should say. But I think for every sort of like 100 that the monos were selling, there's probably about 20 in stereo. But when you think it's sold in its hundreds of thousands, there is still quite a few of the stereo ones out there. So it isn't one of the most rarest Beatles albums that there is. But to be honest, I mean, I've had this for years and I didn't even notice this was an EJ Day sleeve. So that could make that worth a little bit more just for the sleeve, and because the record is in really, really nice condition. And this one is a slightly later pressing. Still stereo. Still get the flip back sleeve on it. And you know something? This one's actually printed and made by Ernest J. Day Co. Limited. Wow. And you know something? This is actually better neck. So I'm not sure if this is actually in the right sleeve, because I know this is from later on. This is from about 1969, I think. I've got it right. But this is actually in really, really nice condition, the sleeve. And again, you do get, this could even be from 1970, because this has got, that's if this is the original inner sleeve. I mean, this is how I bought it many years ago, in the early 80s, because this is advertising Abbey Road, Sergeant Pepper, Sentimental Journey, Let It Be, McCartney. So I doubt if this is the original sleeve, inner sleeve. And this is on what they call a one box EMI, silver and black. So you still get the gramophone code in there. You don't get the sold in the UK. So this can't be any later than 1971, can it? It's a one box EMI. Again, YEX6201G. So they are all the same mixes. That's side 2. I presume side 1 is going to be the same, isn't it? YEX 6191G. Like I say, you don't get the sold in the UK text, and this is only a one box EMI. And this is what they call the silver and black label, although in all honesty, this is more black and white, isn't it? More white and black. The labels were more silver, weren't they? And these are actually quite hard to get. Now, I'm beginning to think that that might be right, but that's the wrong sleeve. So I'd say that's from an earlier version. Because as far as I know, Ernest J. Day & Co. didn't make anything for the Beatles after 1966, but that record itself is from 1969, 1970. Well, I'd say 71 by looking at the what's it. Right, there was one sec. And now I've got some more of these somewhere. Just bear with me 1 minute. Because that's made me wonder now. I'm just going to have a quick look at these while we've got them down here. So this one is a one box EMI. So this is the same as the one we've just looked at, but it's not in quite as nice condition. And this is in it Gerald and Lofthouse Limited patents pending sleeve. And this doesn't even have the stereo on this one, which is a bit strange, isn't it? And this is an EMI sleeve. That's weird. That is weird. I mean, this one is scratched out, to be honest. This is just like a spare copy. And that is and I don't think that's the original sleeve for that. But then again, could that be? I mean, the one box EMI stereo one like that, I don't think you get a one box mono one. They're going for about 25 quid on eBay. Let's have a look at these while they're there, can't we? Right, so this is a EMI 2-box EMI. So this would be from 1971 onwards, wouldn't it? Gerald and Lofthouse Limited, but it is still the patent pending, and you still get the flip back sleeve. Now, this is actually in really nice condition, to be honest, this one. And it is in the, I mean, that's what the original one should have been in. I think these have got mixed up somewhere along the line. Yeah, so they're all 1G, but the only thing is, this one is now on a silver and black 2-box EMI logo. That's not in bad condition, actually. The sleeve's in nice condition on the cover. But that one still says stereo on it there. And we've got, what's this one? Beatles, a collection of oldies but goldies, HTM cut UK press surface marks. So this one, I don't think this one's in quite as nice condition. And now we haven't got the flip back sleeve. This is a later one. And all it says is printed in Great Britain, so you don't even get the makers like Gerhard and Lofthouse or anything on this one. Not sure if this is in really nice condition or bad condition to me. Yeah, this is a later one because you've got EMI records on there, but it is a HTM cut, Harry T. Moss, and that actually says for side one it says YEX 619/3. So I think that's slightly different pressing, isn't it? And then on side 2, it's YEX 620/4. That sounds right. This is what I mean about Beatles records. I mean, I'm learning something today, and I've had these for years and years and years. But you see, the thing is, on my Beatles records, all the good ones are on that side, and then I've got some here for like spares and things like that, which is what these come off on. This is a Beatles collection. Beatles Oldies reissue early 80s. This one. And this one's a HTM cut. But this one's different again, because this one, although it's not in a flip back sleeve, you do get the Gerhard and Lofthausen credit just there. Sleeve's not that bad actually. A little bit of wear, it's acceptable. And you've got the stereo on it again. Yeah, so for side one, it's YEX 619-3, and then for side two, it's YEX 620-4. But then again, this one is slightly different because it's got, in the perimeter here, it says all rights of the producer and the owner of the recorded work. And then you've got your EMI records down there. So that's different to the other one, isn't it? Very strange. And each one of these pressings will actually be worth slightly different amounts of money. Anyway, so on that, the story doesn't actually finish there, because there was in the 80s, early 90s, there was like a magazine that came out, and it was called The History of Rock, and you used to get a double LP with it. So this is the Beatles one. So although it's double album, side one or record one is Oldies but Goldies, but it doesn't say it on the labels. I don't think it does anyway. Bear with 1 sec. These are quite collectible. These go for about 25 quid on them. Yeah, so on this one you just get, it's a bit dusty. That's your label for this one. Don't know if you can see that. You're not going to see it, are you? You can sort of see it. I don't know what's wrong with this. I'm doing it on my computer, on my laptop, so it looks like it's plain white, but it isn't. Yeah, just about see it there, can't you? History of Rock. History of Rock 26. So it's volume 26. And all it says on this is the original sound recording made by EMI Records. And it's YEX 619-3-1. And this one is a HTM cut as well, by the way. Yeah, that's the labels. Why can't you see that one then? You get the gist anyway, don't you? So about the dust on this. So they're not actually white label, but that looks white label, and they do need a clean, so I apologise for that. So that is where you think that it'd finish, wouldn't you? With that, but no, we've got one more version to look at. So I think this was the late 80s, maybe early 90s this came out. Don't know, because it doesn't actually say on it, to be honest. And the second album on that is Beatles Live at the Hollywood Bowl. And then we get this one, which is on Fame, the Fame label, which was like a subsidiary of Music for Pleasure. So you still get, you get stereo there, but then you get Fame just there. You don't get no flip back. So the actual number for this one is, because it's on Fame, it says FA143081-1. You got a barcode on that as well, and you don't get no printers credits either. And some people reckon this is worth a lot of money. Now, to me, I don't think it is. But you will see these occasionally on eBay and Discogs and other internet selling sites going for about 50 or 60 quid. Which, yeah, I mean, apart from it being on a different label, so that's Fame label. The track listing and everything is exactly the same. Although on here it does say this compilation 1967, where we know it was from 1966, don't we? It does say EMI Records. And it just say YX 619. That says 5/5/1. And for side 2 it is YX 620/7/1. So they are slightly different pressings, aren't they? But as far as I know, the sound quality on that is no better or no worse than the original stereo one. But it's up to you. If you haven't got this LP, it's like I say, it's not the rarest Beatles LP in the world. Like I say, this one on Fame, certain dealers will say this is the rarest of the lot. But to be honest, I don't think it is. I think it's just because it's on a slightly different label. And I know that the Fame label didn't last very long, because I know you could get Plastic Ono Band on it and Ram on it, and there's something else on it, wasn't there? There was another Beatles one on it as well. I can't remember what it was now, to be honest. So track list and everything is exactly the same, and you do get that used stereo equipment on that as well. But because that only had a short run, the actual label I'm on about, maybe it is worth a little bit more. I don't know. Like I say, usually if you look on the internet selling sites, your eBays and your Discogs and things like that, you can usually pick this up for 110. Whichever version, a nice mono one might, original mono one that's got everything with it, and the covers in nice condition like that, you might be talking a bit more. But some people put them for 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds. I don't think they're worth that much. So that is it. That is the Beatles, a collection of oldies but goldies, which was originally released in 1966 in the UK, just in time for Christmas. And I think this version was from about 1985. So that is the last time that you could get it in this sleeve. As far as I know, this has never ever been released on CD legitimately. You might be able to get on a bootleg or something that's not an official one, and it's basically been cut out of the Beatles catalogue, which is a shame, because when they re-released all the CDs, really, this is the one that they should have done instead of Magical Mystery Tour. In some ways, Magical Mystery Tour was, originally an American LP, wasn't it? Yeah, but I mean, I've always liked this record. So if you haven't got it, it is worth checking out. Like I say, compared to some of the compilations that came out after it, like the Red album and the Blue album and things like that, and the One album that was released, in the 2000s. Some of the songs on here, you get more on them put like that. But having said that, it is still nice to find an original version of this just to get Bad Boy. And it sounds, to my ears, it sounds better in mono than it does in stereo. But it's up to you. If you haven't got it, I would still say, if you're a true Beatles fan, you're gonna need this just for completeness. Like I've said, I think I've even got some more in there somewhere. I know I have, because this is like one of the most common ones you can get, but I'm not going to get them all out. But virtually everyone I've shown you has got a slight variation, hasn't it? That's what I'm saying about collecting Beatles stuff, even the UK stuff. You think, oh, well, there's only 13 or 14 original albums, yeah. But each one of them albums might have 10, 20 different variations. I mean, how many variations there? There must be over 10 there, haven't there? So, as always, I hope that's been entertaining for you. As the name says, it's Beatle Dave. So, 99.9% of the time, this channel is about the Beatles and record collecting in general. But we do occasionally do features on other artists. So, if you do like other artists, just check it out, because we've done a couple now. We've done Adam and the Ants, Sex Pistols, David Bowie. Who else we've done? The Kinks. So there is always something else on this channel if you are looking for something else. I don't take myself that serious. Honestly, I do not take myself that serious. As you must remember, but if I make a mistake and I know I've done it, I will correct myself straight away. All my videos I do live. I don't edit them or anything. So what you see is what you get. If you like my videos, do me a favor, just hit that thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe, because that's what we're here for. The more subscriptions I get, the more videos I can make. Everything I do show you, by the way, are my own personal records. I don't get lent things to show you and things like that, or sent things from other record companies. Everything I do show you is my own personal property, out of my own personal collection. This is just half of it. You go down there, that's the rest of it. And then just even some more over there. As always, folks, love your records, cherish your records. From time to time, you'll have to clean your records, but above all, play your records. So I hope you've liked this video. I know it's gone on a little bit longer, but to be honest, we've looked at a few more records than what I was originally going to do. So I've learned something myself through doing this, because I always thought Ernest J. Daysleeve stopped at Revolver, but we now know there was some that went on to do the Beatles, a collection of Beatles oldies but goldies. So, like I say, I hope you're all happy and not letting things that are going on in the world bother you too much. I know it is hard, but sometimes you just got to switch off. And so until the next video, this is Beatle Dave from Derbyshire in the UK, wishing you all love and happiness. And I will see you on the next video. And just remember, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do, because that's what we're there for. Everybody on YouTube likes and subscribes. Okay, so till the next time, it's Beatle Dave, wishing you all peace and happiness, and cheerio for now.